Okay. Then, so those are your volatile oils, your essential oils, and then you've got the fixed oils, which you are now, I think, focusing on quite a bit as well. The baobab that you mentioned, Kalahari melon. What are some of the really interesting ones out of this part of the world in terms of those volatile oils? Yeah, sorry, the fixed oils.
Yes. For us, we are very excited to also see, marula can take its space and position among argan oil, and there's palm oil. There is there's shea butter, which we can also position our mafura, for example, in South Africa. The Kalahari melon can be harvested like pumpkins and like watermelons annually. You can actually estimate and you can project how much you can take off per hectare per year. And we really need to do that so that we can make sure how much oil will we have, where it will go to, what will the properties be. And with the oil shortage that we see in the world, all eyes are on anything with oil. And it's been a good time to come into an industry where you have all these opportunities coming.
Okay, right. So for you then to be able to structure these opportunities, you founded SAEOPA, right? Which is Southern African Essential Oils Association, Producers Association, SAEOPA, right?
Yes,
maybe
that's right.
Where did that idea come from?
That idea was born and bred in the Lowveld. That's in Mpumalanga. While I was lecturing and I was looking at doing research on medicinal plants, people said to me, if you have an industry association, you have a voice. And you can collectively share all the information and all the knowledge, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So the farmers actually, all the producers then formed this association. I'm the current executive director. It's now 22 years of my 40 years in professional life that I've dedicated to the essential oils alone. And I must say, it's beautiful to see how things change and develop from a big secret industry to this open-ended, transparent industry where people actually share their information and their knowledge. And if one person has a market, he can quickly phone a neighbor, phone a friend, a fellow producer, say, listen, I cannot meet the volumes. Please, let's take hands. And in the past, we were always so afraid of each other that one is going to take the other one's market. It's not true in essential oils. We need everybody. We need all the hands on board to steer the ship.
Yeah, and also because, it's a volumes business, right? So quality is important, but also volumes, because if you go to a buyer, not one seller can satisfy that demand. So it's really important. So how big is SAEOPA now?
SAEOPA now we've got about 240 people on our mailing list.
Okay.
And it consists of researchers. It consists of small producers, exporter or big producers, people that are do formulating and also in value adding, actually into finished products. And then we also have a lot of people in the cottage industry that's been really boosted by the tourism industry because it goes well together. And we also have producers not only in South Africa, also in Southern Africa. So across the borders, we have all the neighboring countries. We also have producers there. And then we are also, SAEOPA is also now part of the European Essential Oil Hub. So we are also a partnership with them. And that is making, I think, the marketing access a lot easier for us. We have seen that there's a stiff competition from the Eastern countries. They've been there in that space long before us. But there are certain products that we can also export to China and to India, and we can compete with quality. Where we cannot compete with quantity, there is something that we can put a foot on.
Yeah, and I guess the uniqueness of this part of the world, the fact that the marulas, for instance, they cannot come from China. They can only come from here. So
beautiful.
Okay.
Yes.
Any interesting plants out of the fynbos?
Always.
Okay.
There's quite a lot. People think, fynbos, and I've always said, the biodiversity is not only in regions, it's also within the plant. There are certain chemotypes within a specific species. If I just talk on fynbos, there's different buchus, and there's different we call Cape May or Cape Rosemary. There is also a Collioniema, there is Erycephalus, and on top of it all there's Helichrysum, which is a part of fynbos, but also part of other plants. And Helichrysum is growing in all the provinces, but there are 245 species. So that's within the species. Wow. We also see different chemotypes, and that is why I do think that the research and development can never stop. It must carry on. The more we discover, the more we see there is to still be developed and researched. So it's not over yet. And it's very, very exciting. Young people find the industry very interesting. They come themselves. We don't have to lure them or convince them that this is something new. Maybe it's the sexiness on the oil side that attract them. Yes. We need to use. Yes, we need a new generation to take over from us, as the perfumery industry are often seen as an aging industry. We can also see that there's a lot of new push for in the natural products on the organic side, and that's where we need a lot of new producers, young people, more research, better development. It will never stop.
Yeah. So you have a particular interest in working with women, right? Maybe tell us a little bit about that. Women's groups, women farmers.
Yes, David, we've seen this industry has been dominated by women without any external force or anything. It's just that women are very much in touch, I think, with what is needed by the body, by nature. You don't have to convince any woman that this is the industry that they, that can have answers. And maybe it's also the way it's so pleasant to work with something out of nature. You give to nature, you get back from nature, you share. It's really something that we've seen in the community work that I'm doing. It's always a lot of women, and they come spontaneous, so out of their own. They want to be involved right through the value chain. And it's not only for harvesting or working on the field, it's also on the other levels that we see women very prominently coming to the fore. They are doing value adding, they are doing very creative work in the blending, in the formulations, and even in the packaging and marketing. You see a lot of women there in the quality control, in the laboratories. They are literally all over.
Yeah, and they have a good work ethic, right? So they are not
yes, very dedicated, very loyal.
Like them, and yeah. Okay, maybe let's go back again to Karen. What have been your influencers or your influences? Who has shaped, your career, your thinking in a positive way?
I think, the way the world is going has definitely influenced my work. I could see that there's a bigger and bigger need, for natural products. We don't have all the answers from, in the current research. We do need to continue to improve. And what I found is every time there's a new disease, let's not call it a new pandemic, there's new discoveries from the people who use plants, that they've seen this before. They've used it with success. So it's from allergies, from aging sicknesses, from people being obese, from people that's got diabetes. Those are the problems of our time, and there are definitely answers for that in natural products. So I do think that it's not only the way I grew up, but the way things are going at the moment that gives us this direction of where we should go to. And for a long time, I found myself divided between my academic interests and also the industry needs. And what we see now is that these two almost silos are coming closer together. Industry is talking to academia. Academia is talking to government. And that's the triangle that we need, that we actually wanted to get the balance out in this industry, where you have your government, your industry, and your academia all around the same table, looking at solutions for the problems, or for pandemics, for modern diseases that we don't have answers for yet. There are a lot of diseases that we still don't know. It's incurable, and we have to keep searching.
But okay, what has led to that, do you think? I mean, how have you managed to bring all these three parties together? Because I think you're just very good at doing it. And how have you done it?
Well, I wasn't alone in this. I can tell you, there's a lot of people who shared my my concerns, and we did get a lot of interest from United Nations Industrial Development Organization, also from GIZ, from a lot of international bodies who also picked this up in modern times, and they actually helped us with better dialogue, more workshops, sharing information, seminars, and that's actually how we managed to take it to a next level. And they actually also assisted so that we get these three silos of government, industry, and academia around the same table. So it wasn't just us, it was something that came from all over, or from all directions, if I can put it that way.
So, and what were the challenges?
There's always challenges, and our main constraint still is funding. If you talk to any producer, in order to excel, in order to expand, to increase volume, they all need funding. There's not a lot of funding available for this. We tend to focus on food security and construction and so on. So you have to really be smart. You have to work very closely together and work with great dedication. Most of the time it's passion driven, because there's really not. So the challenge is still, on proper funding, or I could say a continuous funding process. We don't want to see all the hard work that everybody's put to go lost. We'd like to keep it going. So we always have to look at new ways, other ways, be creative and innovative, and work around we don't want to call it problems, we call it challenges.
Challenge. Indeed, that's true. Okay, so we are kind of coming to the close of this, and thank you for your time. But I just wanted to ask you some sort of very short, specific things. Again, just maybe about Karen. So what would you tell your younger self?
My younger self, I would have said, you should have started earlier. You should have moved faster. You should have done more. But at the same time, to be thankful. When I look back, for example, I'm really thankful for when I came into the industry, there were no knowledge, there were no concern or anything about standards. And what I've seen in the meantime, since I started it now, that people are really now aware and conscious of standards. So what I would like to see for the way forward is that we have more standards. For example, there were only 2 standards in South Africa for natural products, and one was for moringa, not even indigenous, and the other one was for aloe. And just because they were aloe vera, we had to form one for aloe ferox. Now we have also a standard for rose geranium. We have a standard for baobab. We have another one for marula, almost in publication stage. And then we are writing one for Lipia. So if I had known that the standards are so important, I would have, done it earlier. And I hope that we will see more standards coming, because that's our lever. That's how we can negotiate best prices and make sure that we've got quality with our quantity, is with standards.
Okay, so that's that's really great, but so it's about building up, really, right? So
Yes,
in the next
that's
5
what we
years,
leave.
yeah, okay, that's great. So what's your legacy?
I hope that that we've unlocked this big door of secrecy, and I hope that we have laid the foundation for quality control, for quality consciousness, and putting down something for the next generation would be proper standards and certification. That is what I hope that we would be able to leave for the people coming after us to take further.
Yes, and I think you will leave that. I've always admired, the way that you have built this organization, SAEOPA, and that I think it's such an important pillar in the natural products industry in South Africa. So for me, Karen, you're a great legend, and thank you very much for your friendship. Strength to you, and long may we collaborate.
Thank you, David. Thanks once again for the opportunity also. Keep going.